Hello, my friends. I am experiencing the first bit of sun in almost a week. And I've just recorded the videos I'm doing for the YouTube Pagan Challenge, which was actually for last week, on what the season means to us. Well, today's the kind of day that it feels very much like Beltane. All the neon greens of the unfolding leaves on the trees and the bright blue sky, everything we haven't had for over a week here. It's been a very April showers kind of last week to April. It's actually been quite beautiful in that way. I had a week where I had nothing on my calendar, trying to keep the fourth week of the month that way. Oh, I gave in to it, my friends. I gave in to quiet moments. I'm reading books for no other reason than absolute joy. I wasn't studying, I was just reading for fun. Writing. Spending some time working in my book of shadows, being a bit creative and having fun with that. I stayed offline almost entirely. It was kind of like a sense of a last week of that kind of quiet, for the seasons were no longer permitted, and it was glorious in its own way. I have lots of tiny moments for you. I think I'm probably going to do a separate tiny moments video, since there's several of them. Maybe a week's worth of collecting of things. But this is what it's looked like this entire week. Oh, it's all about sunshine and flowers to me. So I was a little bit bummed in a way that it went on so long and the temperatures were colder than they should have been, and yeah, I kind of went there. Then I decided to glory in it like a last experience of the grayer times of the year. Let me look at my calendar so I can tell you what's going on since the last time I checked in. I was checking in the last time, just before our Goddess Covenant group first meeting. We ended up with 21 women signed up and interested in being present to the experience, and we will then have to have 2 different covenant groups because 12 is as much as we are allowed to have in a group. That's very exciting. Very exciting. I had the pleasure of meeting some younger women, which will make for a wonderful dynamic in one of our Goddess Covenant groups, which will be in the evening, so the moms have a chance to get sitters for the little ones and get a night out. The power of being with younger women is going to be very, very welcome. I had a wonderful full moon with my working partner, and we did a little simple exercise which ended up being rather powerful for me. It was just something I decided at the last minute. Maybe I hadn't prepared for that moon an awful lot in advance, and I felt bad going into it that I come up with this very simple last minute exercise to do. Maybe something you'd like to do. What we did is, on scraps of paper, we took turns telling each other words we would use to describe the maiden aspect of the goddess. So if you're a gentleman, think of the knight aspect of the god, that virgin and independent and whole unto oneself aspect of the gods. So one by one we would share the word that we were using, write it on our piece of paper and crumble it up and put it into a bowl. And we did it really until we ran out of words. Then we stirred up the bowl with intent. We charged it with our energies, and we charged it that it speak to us powerfully. And we each took a piece of paper and we opened it up, and that word we then shared with each other. When's the last time we were truly that aspect of the goddess? It was great fun. I think mine was freedom, and my working partner's was innocence. So it was fun to go back and experience again a moment that was just so much of that. And then we picked another one, and this was our working, actually, for the right. We picked another word, and that word was the promise we were to make to the season. And if you watch my videos for the YouTube Pagan Challenge for the season of Beltane, you know why promise is such an important word for me. So we picked a word, and Interestingly, I picked one of my working partner's words, and she picked one of mine. And mine was, now mind you, my working partner is a retired nurse, actually a midwife. She delivered thousands of babies in her time. Her word was health. I remember when she offered it and we discussed it that it seemed a little dry to me, but she was explaining, how can you imagine the maiden without imagining how strong she is, her muscles, her strength, her ability to be Diana, that powerful, strong, limitless physical possibility. So my word that I selected, that was actually one of her words, was health. And I thought, well, crap, that's kind of boring, because the promise we were to make was to live with the word for a week. And at the end of the week, share with each other the promise we made to that word. Well, I had a couple of days that maybe weren't quite, they might have been frustrating, might be the word for it. Health seemed kind of dry to me. Yeah, I knew I'd been working on eating healthy and going for longer walks, and I felt kind of stagnant with that. I just feel like I felt a little bit lost when it came to that. Like I hadn't made the promise. So then this word health comes up, and it's like, oh crap. It just reminded me that I haven't made a promise to this. I've mouthed it and I've done some things, but really didn't make a promise. And the more I spent time with that word, I released it to the word vitality. And if you've been a Season of the Seeker person, you know vitality is one of the words we discuss in fire. Strength and vigor and fire coursing through your body and through your soul that gets you moving and passionate and devoted. But it's also the physical strength of our bodies, the energy that moves through them. So I ended up making a promise out of the full moon to intentionally promise my body to provide it with every opportunity possible to host the energy, the word vitality, in every way. I'll update you on what is happening with that at another time, but it was a very timely and important thing for me too. I have come up at the full moon. I need to make a promise in regards to. Friday of last week, I went to a free sound healing meditation on the elements. I didn't know what to expect. It was very interesting. It seems the local hospital has a kind of a holistic health group that works with meditation and sound healing and other holistic and alternative healing methods with the hospital population. For instance, they'll stay with you up until you go into surgery, working with you with any form of meditation or sound that calms you. And they'll be there afterwards to welcome you back with that. Isn't that a beautiful thing? They talked about doing it in with people doing chemo, with serious surgeries. They also talked about doing it as part of the birthing process for the new moms. And out of that came this particular meditation. The woman who conducted it was very interesting. A woman much older than I even. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous earth mother. Long, flowing silver hair. And oh, she was just stunning. Absolutely stunning. A gorgeous woman. Who, in a great part of her younger years, traveled South America and then Mexico, studying with shamans and healers. Literally for years at a time, on her own. A woman alone with a pickup truck, as the story goes. And she had a beautiful spoken journey through all four of the elements. And she had a partner, a young man, who worked with her. He was a, I've forgotten the word. People who do the music scoring for movies. And that's what his career had been. And he just recently, after some burnout, came back to this area, to home. And he scored the most amazing music to match her meditations. There was just enough music and just enough words and just enough silence that were part of it. I think the meditation itself lasted about 45 minutes and there was lots of time for discussion. It was a wonderful experience. Only 30 people were there. I think that's as much as it actually held. And it was really, truly an absolutely gorgeous experience. I'm glad I went. I really did. One of those things where I had to talk myself into it the last minute because going someplace alone, and not knowing what it'd be like when I got there. And the last of the activities I want to share with you, and this photograph will represent that. That is my friend Tony and his wife Yolanda. Our friend Tony is going through kidney dialysis, hoping for a donor. Sometimes you feel in that situation hoping against hope for a donor. I checked to see if I could become a donor, and they wouldn't even check me to see if I was compatible because I had cancer earlier in my life, and it disqualified me. So prayers for Tony that he gets a donor and can stay healthy in the process of taking his dialysis. There was a Kidney Foundation walk at the local national seashore, Cape Henlopen, and we went for the walk. The walk ended up being a little too much for me, so I had to take a shorter version of it. It was a 3-mile walk, which is certainly not long, but I wasn't feeling too spiffy that day, a little bit off my balance, and I had to take a shorter bailout version. I think it was like a mile or so.
Ready to do the countdown? Are you ready? All right, start with me.
There's a nice gang here today.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm waiting for the groups to separate. Get together.
It was a glorious day. You know, those kind of events, when families come together, when friends and coworkers come together to support someone who's struggling with a health issue, but also in support of the greater effort to both financially support research, but also to support the families of those who are the caregivers. It was glorious, it was happy, and it was a beautiful, bright day, and it was just so wonderful an experience. I have some pictures I'm looking at now so I can comment on them. This is a gorgeous, it was so sweet. With his partner, I've forgotten the partner's name, but it was an absolutely gorgeous beast. And then there was a little petting zoo for the children, the youngsters that were there for the walk, and many of them did do the full walk. And there was this little goat named Willow who was really, really young. Her umbilical cord was still present, so she hadn't even healed from her birth yet, and she was the sweetest little thing, absolutely adorable. And I do have a video that I will put here at the end as my tiny moment for this video of the place where they had this was at a peak, at a point in the Seashore, National Seashore Park, that also is known for hawk watching. And there was like this scaffolding that you go up, and the top looked out over the ocean. And it's Cape Henlopen is my favorite experience of water here, of all the places that we go, even trumping my beloved bay. And if the video came out okay, you'll see the glorious vista there. Monday was quiet. Tuesday, this happened. Yep. Primaries in the state of Delaware. Well, bummer. Hillary and Donald, not unexpectedly, were the winners here. But I was still happy. I did my little bit. I felt my burn and I pushed a button. But it is what it is. It's going to be interesting, my friends. The neighborhood has been delightful. We have had a return of the white herons. These are large, just like the great blues, only they are white, and they were absolutely glorious. And we've also had the return, and they have a picture of both of them, of the egrets, the white egrets. So the marsh grass is turning green now, bright green, and there's these specks of white showing up in the midst of it. And let's see, we've had the cowbirds have returned. That's a sign of spring here. Oh, I love watching them this time of year because they make these funny little strangling sounds, and the boy cowbirds follow the lady cowbirds around, and they go, and they fluff up. They just like strut around. They look like they're trying to be little peacocks, but they don't really have anything to put up. And they just make these funny little gurgling sounds, and they puff up. And of course the ladies are totally ignoring them because they haven't made their selections yet. I've got pictures of Henry, pictures of the Goose couple, Mr. and Mrs. Goose, that have settled in here. Every year we have a goose couple, probably the same, and a mallard couple, probably the same, that settle in. And the geese at the edge of the waters for the bay, and the mallards like the ponds that we have with our fountains. And I was very excited when was it? It was Tuesday. I was out at my friend Lisa's house. She's out actually on the water directly. And it was dark, it was late at night, and the whippoorwills had returned. They haven't settled into the trees up here, they will, but they tend to start down against the water, and then they move a little bit up inland as they're establishing their territories. Oh, how wonderful it was to hear the whippoorwills again. That's a sign of summer. It's getting shady here. Sign of summer is everything's filling in. There's a lot of neon greens. I'll save that for the extended Tiny Moments video I'll do separately. I wanted to share this picture because I just love, we've actually talked about, Roger and I, of doing a slideshow kind of a creation of all of the decorations that folks have on their house here. And every time I see this one, I just smile. She's just so beautiful. I'm looking at the pictures to see if I have any other pictures I needed to share with you. Bear with me because I'm actually going through them. Nope. The rest of the things I have are Tiny Moments. So that will be a bit of a catch-up. Probably will do another vlog on Monday of this week. There's something I want to catch you up on that's happening on Monday. This coming week, I don't think I have a very busy week. Let's see what's going on. Well, of course, it's the first. Is it the first? It's the first Wednesday, so there's drumming this coming week. And then Thursday, my working partner and I are doing our Beltane celebration. I prefer to celebrate Beltane on the True Cross quarter date, so we aimed for as close to that as we could get. So I'm really looking forward to that. We kind of like got ourselves in the mood and ready for Beltane in our full moon ritual that we had last week. So we are like juicing for Beltane, emotionally and energetically and physically. Nothing like anticipating a good thing and then being with that good thing for the entire length of the season of Beltane. Oh, the month of May. Love, love, love it. The neighborhood's getting busy, busier and busier all the time. I think about half the boats are in the marina now. And not so much out on the bay yet because it's still cold and choppy, but we have had lots of sightings of boats on the water. That changes the whole feel of the bay. And people are hauling in bluefin crabs, blue crabs, which is a local delicacy. We're having a boom of a year when it comes to them. And the fishermen and those who crab here are very excited about the season. They have different reasons to appreciate the season than I do. But there's this sense that everybody's excited about the turning of the year. It's like a shared thing this year, not a solitary thing, but it feels very much like a shared thing. I feel like I'm tapping to an energy which is out there, which is part of the learnings of this season. But this year it seems very tangible to reach outward, to go outward, to fly outward, to soar into the outward, and let myself be opened up and widened up to possibility. That's what it's doing to me on many different levels. Yep, many different levels. I think that's it for my vlog, my friends. Oh man, I just hope that some of the excitement and looking forward, even though I don't know to what, that it's part of how I'm feeling right now, can enter into you. Encourage you to be like a child in anticipating the wonders of life. That's good enough for the season of Beltane, don't you think? Goodbye for now, my friends.